Beneath the flight deck of America's most powerful warships lies technology that can change the course of a battle in minutes. The USS Gerald R. Ford carries weapons so advanced, a single strike mission delivers more firepower than entire World War II bombing campaigns. These floating fortresses don't just project power, they are power. Each costs $13 billion and carries enough destructive force to level cities. F-35 Lightning jets on deck can launch nuclear-grade missiles, while electromagnetic launch systems fire aircraft into combat faster than any enemy can react. What you're about to see explains why rivals spend billions trying to sink just one of these carriers. America operates 11 of the world's most advanced carriers, each a floating city with over 5,000 crew. That's more than 55,000 sailors at sea when deployed together. But the true strength isn't numbers, it's weapons. Ford-class carriers can launch 160 combat sorties per day. That's more firepower in one day than many air forces deliver in a week. Impressed by U.S. naval dominance? Type proud in the comments. The crown jewel of carrier aviation is the F-35 Lightning II. This stealth fighter costs $80 million but brings priceless capability. Invisible to radar and armed with sensors that spot threats first, it can even carry nuclear weapons. Alongside it, the F/A-18 Super Hornet remains the backbone, switching from dogfights to ground strikes in a single mission, armed with Sidewinders, Mavericks, and a 20mm cannon. In 2024, a new weapon arrived, the AIM-174B missile. Based on the SM-6, it lets U.S. fighters strike enemies at extreme ranges. Pilots who thought they were safe miles away now face hypersonic missiles closing in. But the genius isn't just in the jets. Ford-class carriers use EMALS, Electromagnetic Launch Systems that replace steam catapults. They launch heavier, faster, with less stress on aircraft. Weapons elevators, 12 in total compared to just 3 on older carriers, move tons of ordnance in minutes, rearming jets faster than ever. Carrier power comes from teamwork. The E-2D Hawkeye acts as eyes and ears, detecting threats hundreds of miles away and directing the entire battle. The EA-18G Growler shuts down enemy radar and comms, leaving adversaries blind while U.S. strikes land. Defense is layered. The Phalanx CIWS, white domes you see on deck, fires 50 rounds per second, shredding incoming missiles. Sea Sparrow missiles intercept fast anti-ship threats, while the latest rolling airframe missiles use both radar and infrared to hunt down anything that gets close. American engineering shines brightest in radar. Ford-class carriers feature the A/Spy 3 and A/Spy 4 arrays. More than detection systems, they're full battle managers. They can track hundreds of targets at once, guide defensive missiles, and even spot something as small as a periscope miles away. Before we reveal the most classified systems, take a second to support this content. If you enjoy learning about America's military edge, like this video and subscribe. Most viewers don't, but your support helps us bring more content about our armed forces. Did you hit that button? Modern warfare brought new threats, drones. In 2025, the Ford Carrier Strike Group deployed Coyote and Roadrunner systems to wipe out cheap enemy drones without wasting million-dollar missiles. That's classic American innovation, solving problems efficiently while keeping superiority. The future looks even more advanced. The Navy is building collaborative combat aircraft, unmanned fighters flying alongside manned jets. These robotic wingmen can handle the riskiest missions, keeping pilots safe. Defense giants like Boeing, Northrop Grumman, and General Atomics are racing to perfect them. Each unmanned jet can be mission-focused, some built for air combat, others for deep strikes or intel gathering. A single carrier could launch dozens, multiplying its strike power many times over. Ford-class carriers also prepare for directed energy weapons, lasers that hit targets at light speed. They generate 3 times more electrical power than older carriers, built specifically for this future. Imagine enemy missiles vaporized by invisible beams before they get close. The MQ-25 Stingray adds another leap, an unmanned tanker that refuels fighters midair, extending their range far beyond before. Missions once requiring multiple carriers can now be done with one. But the real strength is integration. The Naval Integrated Fire Control System links every sensor and weapon across the strike group. A destroyer's radar can guide a fighter's missile to a target tracked by a satellite. Dozens of platforms working together like one giant brain. The numbers prove it. A single Ford-class carrier can strike targets over 1,000 miles away, launch hundreds of missions daily, and defend against multiple threats at once. No rival comes close. And carriers don't sail alone. Arleigh Burke destroyers pack SM-2, SM-3, and SM-6 missiles, capable of downing planes, intercepting ballistic missiles, or sinking ships. The SM-6 even takes on surface targets, making destroyers lethal on all fronts. Beneath the waves, Virginia-class submarines add stealth and power. They launch Tomahawk cruise missiles at land targets and hunt enemy subs that stalk the carrier, operating deep where surface ships can't. Training makes it all seamless. Carrier crews drill constantly, day, night, and in all conditions. They rehearse launches, recoveries, and defense against mass attacks. When combat comes, the systems and the sailors are always ready. Maintaining these weapons takes massive logistics. Every carrier deployment needs thousands of spare parts, millions of rounds, and hundreds of missiles. The supply ships that keep them running are engineering marvels themselves, feeding and arming these floating cities to project U.S. power worldwide. Recent combat proves their worth. In the Red Sea, American carriers stopped hundreds of drone and missile attacks. Defensive systems intercepted threats, while strike jets destroyed launch sites and command centers. Real-world proof that U.S. carriers remain unmatched. The psychological impact of America's carrier strike groups is as powerful as the weapons they carry. When one of these massive floating fortresses appears on the horizon, adversaries know instantly that they face overwhelming firepower. In many cases, just their presence is enough to stop a conflict before it begins. This is peace through strength in its purest form. Every system aboard these carriers reflects decades of cutting-edge innovation. From electromagnetic catapults that launch jets with unmatched speed, to stealth fighters that slip through enemy radar, these warships are floating showcases of American engineering and technological mastery. They aren't just military hardware. They are symbols of determination, ingenuity, and the relentless drive to keep the world's oceans free and secure. But behind the steel and electronics lies the human element. The crews who operate these systems are volunteers, ordinary Americans who choose to serve. They train day and night, mastering some of the most complex weapons on Earth, turning raw technology into a living, breathing force of unmatched combat power. Without their skill and dedication, even the most advanced systems would remain silent machines. The future promises even more staggering capabilities. Hypersonic missiles, AI-guided weapons, and space-based sensors will give America's carriers dominance not just at sea, but across multiple domains of warfare. These next-generation tools will expand the Navy's reach, ensuring these floating fortresses continue to secure American interests for decades to come. And the benefits stretch far beyond defense. Technology first developed for carriers, advances in materials, computing, and energy systems often find their way into civilian life. From stronger construction materials to smarter digital systems, America's investment in naval power pushes innovation that improves lives worldwide. At their core, these weapons are more than just instruments of war. They embody values, freedom, democracy, and the unshakable will to protect the innocent. Every missile launched, every jet soaring into the sky, every defensive system locking onto a threat, each action serves a greater mission, keeping peace by making the cost of aggression too high to pay. That is the true power of America's aircraft carriers. They don't just win battles. They prevent wars. They protect allies, deter enemies, and ensure that freedom has a guardian on the high seas. So the next time you see one of these massive warships cutting across the ocean, remember this: it's not just a ship. It's a message to the world. America stands ready, America stands strong, and America stands for peace through strength.